Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on chess.com's tactics train. I'm going to try 3 more puzzles and just share my thoughts along the way. So this one, it's white to move. Okay. What's the big trick with this? Okay. Well, doing a quick material count, we're even. And my first thought is that there should be something against this queen. This bishop, moving the knight, in other words, with an attack on the queen, but moving the knight with care because he has a job currently to watch over the mate threat on g2, both bishop and queen converging. So there aren't any. Well, hang on. Actually, there's a checking move. Don't know what that's going to amount to. My first thought really wasn't the check, but rather knight here, which interferes with the mate threat on g2 and throws a punch at the queen. Now, what more is this knight move doing? It's a question I have. I don't know if I have a good answer to that. Knight to d5 attacks the queen, but what more is the knight really doing? Okay. Oh, I see another idea. Okay, I think I have another idea, which is moving the knight to g4. Okay, there's these. I think the idea is to move the knight and the bishop. This queen is, as indirect as it may be, she's attacking the knight. I can move out of the way with the bishop and give check, so I'd clear one piece so that the queen is attacking e5. And so, in other words, if I play knight g4, that still prevents a mate threat on g2. It also attacks the knight, attacks the queen, and the queen has to move to a square where she's still watching over the knight. So in other words, knight g4, queen, let's say f5, and now knight takes knight. And if queen takes knight, then there's bishop to b5 check, and I'd be winning the queen. So I think that's it, knight g4. Any other candidate moves? Not so sure. This is quite forcing. Not the most forcing, but, if there isn't a check, that next most forcing move is an attack against the queen, especially if that queen is unprotected. So knight g4, I believe, is going to be it. Knight g4, there is this check, but you just could take. Same story, you're on the queen. So I'm pretty sure it's knight g4, the queen moves. You take the knight, and if the queen recaptures, you give that check. So I'm going to just run with it. Okay, that is it. Queen f5 is it. Am I missing anything? There's pressure on f2, but there's enough defenders. Just winning a piece. Knight takes e5. That is correct, and this is it. So bishop check. And at the end of it, picking up the queen. That should be it. All right. Let's try another one. Problem 2 of 3. Okay, you play black, it says. All right. What to say with this? All right, this knight is pinned. My first thought is not to take the knight, but rather maybe put more pressure on the pinned piece. There is queen to h2 with check. Queen h2 is a check move. Bishop takes knight. This is probably the only useful checking move by the queen. Queen h2 check. And then, aren't we just picking up the knight next? This king isn't going to be in any danger of checks. Like, the only potential check is knight to f4. But after queen h2 and a king move... Actually, what am I even talking about? After queen h2 and the king moves here, which is the only move, the bishop's watching over f1, then just bishop takes knight with check. Or no, hang on. There's coverage of this knight twice with the rook and queen. I was blind to seeing the queen is also there to watch over the knight. So hang on for a second. Queen to h2. King to e1. Oh, there could be another check thrown in. Queen h2, king e1. There could now be queen to g1 check, which would force king to d2. And then there might be a little king walk over here. Might be something to that. If the king ends up on the c file, I don't know if I'm going too deep here. Probably. If the king is walking all the way over here and gets to the c file, one of these c squares, the rook could come over, but then there's always a knight block. So I'm starting to discount that. Let me go right back to square one here. Queen h2 seems like the first move. Let me give one brief thought to this. Bishop takes knight, rook takes. Okay. Not sure what the follow-up is after that. Queen h2, king e1, queen g1 check. Let's try it again. Queen h2, king e1, bishop takes knight, rook takes, and there might be something with the rook coming into h2 at some point. Queen h2, king e1, queen g1, king d2, queen to f2 check. King to c1, or there'd even be a knight block right there. I feel like I'm close, but I'm not seeing it very clearly at all. Queen to h2, king to e1, king g1, king to d2. I'm not sure on this one. Queen h2, king e1, queen to g1 check. What else is unprotected? I mean, there's no... I didn't even do a body count here. I didn't even do a piece count. Okay, black is up a pawn. Not really a big deal. But regarding unprotected pieces, okay, he's protected. Everything seems to be decently protected on the white side, so I'm not seeing some way to, let's say, exploit an unprotected piece. Check, king here. Queen check on g1, king to d2. Queen to f2 check. I don't know that I'm going to get this one. I might have to just run with it and play it along. not be able to see it through to its end, but maybe I could see it at a certain point. I'm just gonna try it. Queen to h2. I spent enough time on this one. Alright, that is the first move. And I wasn't really thinking that this is gonna be it. I was thinking check. I'm gonna go with queen check. No, that's incorrect. I guess it's bishop takes knight. Let's see the solution. Bishop takes. What's the follow-up after rook takes? Oh my goodness. Oh man. Oh, I probably got very loud right there. What can you do? Oh my goodness. Why was I so focused on these zigzag moves with my queen? Oh man. That seems so basic. Oh man. What can you do? Oh my goodness. I was talking about, yeah, if he gets over here on the c-file. Quit thinking too deep. Check. King here, take a knight, and then mate on this square. Huh. Let me... I wonder why I overlooked that. I wonder why I was so blind to this e2 square. Actually, I think a reason for this is because from this current position, there's two pieces guarding this e2 square. You could even reason a third, the king. But from this current position, the rook and the knight are there. But in this variation, right here, right from the beginning, queen h2, you take out one defender of this square, and, well, really, with that capture, you're removing two pieces from the e2 square. And I was just completely blind to it. Queen to e2. Mate. Ouch. Okay. Well, that was tough for me, clearly. Removing two defenders from that e2 square. Wasn't visualizing it well enough that you could be removing those guys from the e2 square. All right, let's see if I could try and get this last one. Problem 3. All right, Team White. I feel like I've had this problem before. Yeah, I think I might have encountered this problem before. Okay. Well, my first thought is to just pick up the bishop. How are we doing piecewise here? Piecewise, we're looking at white being down a rook. This knight is not going to contribute, so it's up to the bishop, the two bishops and the queen. There's a check on g5, a3, and g7. Okay. If bishop checks here, then the king could run here. That's probably not it. So let's forget about bishop a3, at least for right now. Initially I was thinking, just sharing my thoughts, of course, bishop a3, I was thinking the knight would have to block, but no, he could just go to f6. So I'm down to these two, queen check and bishop takes bishop. If bishop takes bishop, the knight must block. Oh, I see it. Okay. Bishop takes bishop, and after the knight blocks, you just take the knight. The pawn can't recapture because it's pinned, so therefore the king must take. And then the king and queen are lined up, which allows queen to h4, picking up the queen. Well, that seems very clean, I think. Very nervous now. It's like when I saw that little red color come up incorrect, got a little nervous. I don't want that to happen again. I'm shooting for green. Go for green here. Bishop takes bishop. It's all pretty forcing. Knight blocks. You just take the knight, another check, and then another check, picking up the queen. One last thing to actually check for in that variation, I'm pretty sure that's it, is that the king is not on a light square. At the end of this variation where you pick up the queen, if the bishop was able to move in some way and give check, then you'd be losing the queen back, but that's not quite the case here, of course. So let's just see the green. All right, take the knight, and then finally give a check and get that queen. All right. 2 out of 3. That second one was, gotta say, you can't hear it in my voice, but it's very painful. But clearly, it happens. All right, well, as always, I hope you got something out of this video. Take care. Bye.